So let's begin with a meditation. Let's start by taking 3 deep breaths. And during the exhalation, allow your whole body to relax. So let us inhale and exhale, relaxing. Inhale again and exhale, relaxing from head to toe. Once more, inhale deeply and exhale, relaxing. Allow your whole body to relax. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to think about. You're just enjoying this time to experience peace and then later to experience insight into Satsang, which leads to our true nature. So there is nothing to do and nothing to change about this moment. Let us accept this moment exactly as it is. And that includes accepting all feelings, all thoughts, positive or negative, the totality of this moment. There is no need to change anything. Perhaps you are comfortable, perhaps you are not, and the body is complaining. So let us accept both the discomfort and the complaining. So we accept this moment exactly as it is, and nothing needs to be changed. If it changes by itself. But it doesn't need to change. Notice if there is any discomfort in the body or in the mind, and allow it to be exactly as it is. It doesn't need to be changed. You may notice your thoughts. Some may be positive, some negative. But the bottom line is there is no need to change them. Leave them alone as they are. Welcome them. You may notice the temperature in your room or outside, and it may be hot and humid, or it may be comfortable, but there's no need to change it. It is perfect as it is. In other words, this is the divine experience. This moment as it is. We have arrived and we never departed. There could be silence outside, or there could be noise. But most important, it doesn't need to be changed. Nothing needs to be changed. So the awakened state is a state of non-resistance. Non-resistance to what? To this moment, to what is. And if there is resistance, then that doesn't need to be changed either. That movement in the mind, that resistance, can be embraced too. So as you open your eyes, you may continue practicing this simple practice, which is to be okay with what is, to a point that is fully understood that the present moment doesn't need to be changed one iota. If change happens, then that doesn't need to be changed. So yes, in regard to the eyeglasses and I looking myself like an insect, is because there was a change in my eyesight, an uncomfortable one. But that doesn't need to be changed either. To the degree that the mind complains, to that exact degree we suffer. So thank you for the compliment, Chalva, that I look like a rock star. I think I more look like an insect, at least this body. So in a way, during the meditation, I was communicating to you, what is this about? because the pointer, nothing needs to be changed, can be used to meditate. And in non-duality, we don't make a difference between our everyday life and meditation. Because if we make a difference, then we obsess thinking that in order to be in the divine state, we need to be meditating, which is false. You're always in the divine state. You're always in the here and now. That state can be resisted, cursed, hated, or it can be fully and completely accepted. And to accept it, we need to basically stop the movement of the mind of trying to change it. And that's why this practice is so effective. To stop that urgency to change the present moment for something else, which springs from a misunderstanding that there is something wrong with this moment, and therefore the mind wants to change the moment into something else. If that movement of trying to change the mind, the situation or the moment into something else, including our internal feelings, if that movement is stopped with the pointer, nothing needs to be changed. You move immediately into acceptance, and it can be quite deep. Because when it comes to accepting the present moment, there are levels of acceptance. And this particular pointer, nothing needs to be changed, tends to trigger a deep acceptance. So you may remember the story of the man that, the seeker that went to the Roshi and asked, please tell me, Master, what is enlightenment? And then the Master answered, before enlightenment, I chop wood and carry water. And after enlightenment, I chop wood and carry water. So in the light of this practice, you may fully understand what he meant. Nothing needs to be changed. And as the Zen teachers have said, after enlightenment, nothing changed and everything is different. So, what is it that is different? we could say that the difference is that there is no resistance to the present moment. Now, Satsang leads to a quiet mind because we stop arguing with reality, and then the mind begins to quiet down. And why is this important or valuable? Well, you may ask yourself, who am I? Or, if you want, what am I? Without thoughts. Without any thoughts. Who am I? And without any thoughts, obviously, here comes the answer, right? Without thoughts, obviously, there are no thoughts about me or I. And if there are no thoughts about me or I, we begin to realize that the I is not here. However, something is here. Obviously, something is here present. But me and my story are not present. So silence leads to the seeing that me and my story are mental processes, nothing else. But in silence, still life is here. Beingness is here. Awareness is here. Totally present. Has been called presence too. But the me and the I and the story about me is gone without thoughts. There is this present moment too. That's another way to put it. This now. And if you want to call this now, or this present moment, or this awareness that is seeing, you want to call them me, you can do that. It still is closer to the idea I am so and so with my story, much closer. But in reality, you don't need to do that. The best way to describe reality in the here and now is there is just this moment. No one here. there is one here is more like it's a concept that we bring into. And yes, as a concept, it does exist. And concepts are imagination. As imagination, it does exist. Same as Papa Noel does exist as imagination. So the me, the I, exist as imagination. But what is here and now in this moment is not imagination, is something real, is something that doesn't go away if thought stops. Anyway, the realization doesn't come by simply understanding what I said, but it comes by doing this, by silencing for a moment and noticing. Notice what is left. What is left really? Without thoughts, without names, you cannot even say there is a body here and there is a microphone, or there is no, that requires thought. Naming requires thought. Without names, it's just this. And it doesn't need to be changed, of course. It's exactly the way it should be. The divine doesn't need to be changed. This is the divine. So there is this story of Ramana Maharshi that a man went to him and complained, rightly so, because it's one of the most painful experiences in duality, that his son had died last night, and said, "Why God took it away from me, Master?" And Ramana went silent for about half an hour. And then he opened his eyes and he looked at the man and said, "God is what is." He could have said, "God is this." And the word God is not the best word, of course. The divine is a better word. Impersonal. So that we don't imagine a person somewhere sitting in a space and controlling the world. God and its creation are one, not two. the creation is God. So I invite you to ask questions, and you can use your chat room, and I will answer them the best I can. I will also read them for the other participants. I guess someone sent a message, but I can't find it in the chat room. Can you resend that message, guys, if you sent one? Otherwise, it's fine. Close this so the system doesn't get confused. Hi, Julie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're a little bit into it already.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry I'm late. We are having a storm starting at 3 in the morning, so I had a lot of preparation to do for the outside cage and stuff. So, yeah.
What type of a storm are we talking about?
Well, it's supposed to be solid, heavy rain for about 4 or 5 days.
I see, but no hurricane or anything like that, right?
No, just heavy rain.
Heavy rain. Okay. Well, we are in the we are at the time of asking questions, and no question has come up yet. So you are welcome also to write questions through the chat room. I rather do it through the chat room so that we don't transfer the sounds of the microphone to each other. Please, feel free to ask any questions in regard to the subject of nothing needs to be changed, which is kind of similar to accepting what is, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, here it came. Shalva is saying there is a mental understanding. How can we embody this understanding? Yes. Okay. The mental understanding is really essential. It's a very valuable first step, but we want to experience this. So we begin to experience it when we use the pointer. When you notice what is present in the present moment, you notice the resistance, and you remind yourself with the pointer, nothing of this needs to be changed. So at that moment, you begin to move from the intellectual understanding towards the experience that the pointer is pointing towards. The understanding is necessary, otherwise the pointer will not work. Will be simply repeating a few disconnected words that will mean nothing to you. Now, the intellectual understanding deepens also with the experience of the experiencing that in reality, actually, nothing needs to be changed. That this is the divine experience that we were looking for. And it has always been. When we started the spiritual path, we were given a lot of carrots that were put in front of us to chase them, because there was something that we needed to attain, something different, something that is not what is, that is not this. And probably if we had been told that this, what is the divine experience, we would have not started, because that was not interesting enough for the ego, for the mind. Any other question? Does the answer is satisfying for you, Shalva, or would you like more clarification? Also, since Julie came in, I want to invite her to also answer the question or expand on it if she wants. For that, you need to open your microphone, Julie, and you can participate. The reason I'm inviting Julie to do this is because she also experienced awakening already.
Oh, I'm back. I'm on. I didn't realize my microphone was on the whole time.
Yes, but
Yeah.
for some reason there was no noise whatsoever. I don't know about the others, but anyway. So Shalva is saying now, Gurdjieff said that life is happens.
And the question was about how we embody that understanding.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, I would say that we embody it by observing our own experiences. In the observation, noticing that there's no doer here.
Okay.
It might help to have a specific circumstance that you might be thinking about.
He's talking about the embodying the experience that the pointer is pointing to, which is that nothing needs to be changed. Mm-hmm. Right? So now what you are bringing in, which is that there is no doer really, mm-hmm. which is a natural consequence of what we were experiencing a moment ago, that without thoughts the me is not here. Then there is no doer. So who can change anything?
Right. There's only a thought that change is possible.
Yes.
By this imaginary person that doesn't exist.
That's right. That thought is an illusion. Right?
Right.
It's imagination.
Yeah, it seems the only time we get in trouble is when we assume there's a person there and go on our life with this assumption, and that's what causes the suffering. But upon inquiring, immediately you see there's no person, and it brings you back to just what is.
Would you mind to to explain the inquiry that you do, which I did it a moment ago, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I'm so sorry I was late.
No. Can you do it yourself?
Oh, yeah. Well, it kind of depends on whatever concept that you have. If you have a concept, then I use a basic inquiry of is it true, and then are you sure that it's true? Can you really know it's true? And then what happens when you believe it? What happens when you believe that concept or that thought? Mm-hmm. Emotionally, mentally, physically. Look at how does it affect you? And then who are you or what are you without that thought? And then what are you without any thought? And some people have a little trouble with answering that because it's just can be very unfamiliar. They don't think in those terms. Well, what would I be without any thought?
Yeah.
But that's basically the question of, who are you? It brings you to really question, who are you? Without anything, without any mental constructs, without any props, without any identifications, without any attachments. What's left? Like, drop everything and what's left?
Right. So a moment ago we were talking about what is left.
Yes.
Could you share in your experience what is left?
Love, just alive awareness. Beingness. It's something that is really not even the less, when you use no words, is the most accurate. But when there's nothing left, there's just the pure, spacious love awareness, which is completely alive, and the totality. And it sounds like there's concepts there, but I think everyone has difficulty in expressing that it's like a vibrant, alive, exquisite, all-knowing love, wisdom love. I don't know. That's the best I can do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. How did you describe it?
I describe it basically as this. Without thoughts, right. This, or another wording would be awareness, where awareness and that which is being seen, or the perceiving and the perceived, are one, because even those words are not available without thoughts, right? We need names to say that.
Right.
Oneness. Unity, that would be another one.
I like the Native American term for it, which is great mystery.
Yes. Mystery. It's a good one because it prevents the mind to think about it, because it's a mystery.
Right, or try to figure it out.
To figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And of course, without thoughts, it cannot be described, and therefore is a mystery.
Yeah.
Okay, Chalva is writing. Now, what you wrote there, Gurdjieff said that life happens. I guess he's referring to life is change, meaning there is constant change. But that change, the changing that is happening, doesn't need to be changed, meaning that we don't need to change anything. And the reaction of the mind-body organism to what is being presented to doesn't need to be changed either. So to accept doesn't mean to accept only what is being presented, but to accept both what is being, the situation that is being presented, and the experience, the internal reaction of the mind-body organism to what is being presented. So the experience is the totality of both, and that can be embraced as the experience, as the divine experience. So Chalva is saying, as a person who had experienced the near-death experience, I definitely know what that is. Still, I barely have a glimpse of it, not to mention to bring it to the daily life. Okay.
Are you going to say something? Can I say something?
Please, go ahead.
That?
Yes.
I think that there's this idea that there's this pursuit of awakening, and there's these experiences we have that are enlightened experiences, and then there's daily life. And so there's just this assumption that the two are different, or they're separate.
Yes.
And actually, at any point in your day, whether you're at work or mowing the lawn or washing the dishes or sitting in meditation, no matter what you're doing, if you just stop for a moment and drop all your thoughts, drop anything. Well, you can't do that while you're driving a car or mowing the lawn, but if you're to stop and not think and really just be there and look, what's there? What is there? Who are you? You will find that it's identical to the near-death experience. I mean, I don't know if you've inquired that way. But then you can see that it's not separate. There's nothing separate because you are pure awareness. But it's like we have to prove it to ourselves. We can read about it, we can listen to non-dual teachers, we can go to Satsang, but really in the end, it's in our own quiet moments where we just be quiet and notice that's what's there, that's who we are. And that's the part we can look, but until we really stop, just stop, then we see it for ourselves.
And even if the stop is not a full stop, even just a little bit of a stopping has value.
Mm-hmm.
So that, because we don't want to obsess with seeking a full stop, it's even little stops immediately connect you with that presence that is here and now, that is the here and now. And to the degree that we are in contact with that and not totally lost in thought, to that degree we are living a life that is an awakened life. And of course we can define awakening in so many ways, but the simplest is that you already got it, that the I was a story, and that you're no longer interested in pursuing more ego growth, that on the contrary you want that thing, to be reduced, to be left behind. You see clearly that that is not the life that inhabits the organism. So although awakening is not liberation, it is a very important or very valuable milestone. Because in the first part of the spiritual path, we chased from the ego these different carrots of enlightenment, cosmic consciousness, self-realization, believing that this I was going to experience that. Then the surprise is to see that the I will never experience that because it's not the experiencer. For example, in the near-death experience that you are mentioning, Shalva, in the near-death experience, the assumption that you were there experiencing a near-death experience is only an assumption. That experience was experienced, but not by the me. That experience was experienced by as awareness of the experience, or we could say awareness experience the experience. But the beauty of the experience was likely that the me was not there. The thought of me having the experience during the experience was not there. It's later, when you try to make sense of the experience, that the me thought comes in and says, wow, I had an incredible near-death experience. I had it. So that's the tricky part of spiritual experiences, that when they are interpreted afterwards, they are interpreted obviously from the me state, from the illusion of the me, because the experience is over, and then the me makes an interpretation that is centered on me. Okay, you're saying here, and it helped me to be that me at that moment, and it helped me to understand that. I guess the second me in your sentence should be capitalized, right? So, and it helped me to be that me with capital at that moment. Is that right? Meaning me with capital as the real me. Yes, okay. Now, I would just see, I understand that the language, has been created with subject, verb, object, and therefore it's very difficult to bypass that structure. But you could say here that the little me was not the little me that became the big me. It's just that the little me was gone and the big me was self-evident, but the little me was only conceptual, made of ideas about you. And somehow the near-death experience kind of put a wrench in the thinking process, and the thought of me was gone. Make sense? So same as at the time of the near-death experience, really this moment, which is not a near-death experience but is equally divine, this moment, all that is here is the me with capital, the self with capital. And the little me, if it's present, is present in thought, conceptually. Is not a self. There is no little self. There is just a conceptual little self. Imagination. Same as when we used to believe in Papa Noel and now we don't. So awakening is to stop believing in the me, or the little me, or the I. We woke up to the reality that Papa Noel was a story at some point. It's the same. We need to wake up to the reality that the me or the I was a story. Not as nice as Papa Noel. Unless you're Donald Trump.
Unless you're what?
Donald Trump.
Oh.
I mean that we can become enamored with our I, right? We can fall in love with our I, our little me. But
it's all imagination.
It's based on imagination, right?
It's just idea. It's just an idea.
Right. Any other question? Or oh, here it is. And I have seen this quite often, in fact, that some people are really in love with their I and me, and therefore they don't want to let go of the fantasy. And they can be delightful people, but they are totally unwilling to let go of the me idea. I had a conversation with a friend in Chile that he's quite an interesting individual, a Jungian psychiatrist, and with 30 years of experience. So at some point, my sister and myself, we cornered him into that the me doesn't exist. My sister has it more clear, but he absolutely refused to accept such a thing. And the problem is that to accept it, you need to put your concepts aside and really look into your own experience right here and right now. And if you're not willing to do it because you love too much the concept of me and I and my story, then you won't do it. It's, the mind will prevent it. There is a song, "Wake Me Up When It Is Over." Right. Wake me up, but not yet. Let me experience a little bit more of the me. Still I have to gain something or get something. I have to complete something. And yes, those desires also are an obstacle. The desires for accomplishments from the me perspective, to attain glories for the me. Some glories.
Well, it's just an assumption that by continuing to build up the me, if people really believe that that's what's going to bring them happiness, and
Right.
you keep doing and becoming and accumulating.
Right.
So it's the long road, because it ends up in a lot of suffering.
Of course.
And it's really the suffering that really starts to wake people up to realize there must be something more than this.
That's right. I remember many years ago going to a talk by a monk that he was kind of a wise guy, a jnani, and he said the following. He said, if you had success in everything you do, every project you initiated, you would develop an ego that will be so humongous that it will take you incarnations to wake up from it.
Yeah.
So, what a paradox, right? So much effort to gain happiness, and we get many extra incarnations of suffering just to wake up from the ego we created.
Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people will either laugh hysterically or cry when they finally see that they're not that me.
Yes, that's right.
Because all of the doing and all of the striving and all of the thinking that they were going to get something, and there was nothing to get. And then on top of that, in the stopping of thought and just being, the happiness that you were searching for, you find out that that is your nature. That you already have that. That's you. That's you.
Yes.
Already, without doing anything.
Yeah. And that laugh that comes, that is called the laugh of the Buddha, right?
Yeah.
When the realization comes that this was all about realizing that this I doesn't exist, and so you can go for so many years, looking for enlightenment, and suddenly you see that you will not get enlightenment. You will wake up from an illusion, from an imagination, and that's the enlightenment. It's really something. So any other question or comment? I would like to make a little experiment. Would you mind, Chalva and Leslie, to put your microphones on and see if it's possible to have a conversation that is more normal without having too much noise in the system. Okay. So who has it on?
I do.
Leslie. Okay.
Me too.
Chalva, you have it on too. Right. And Leslie, you have it on too, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you notice too much noise or not at all?
Completely silent.
It's completely silent, right? Now if I increase the volume on my side here, I guess that doesn't work, right?
I'm starting to hear your mic.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, and what level of volume do you guys have in your own computers?
I'm at about 80%.
80%,
Mine's all the way up. Mine's 100.
100%,
I'm about 80% too.
80%. Okay. Well, there could be internal controls that are regulating automatically the volumes. All right. Well, it looks like works quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anyone has any question or comment?
I'm not sure how to phrase my comment or question. I was laughing with you about your comment on Donald Trump, and it occurred to me, what if it's the opposite? Is it the same thing? If instead of having so much admiration for yourself, if you have, on the flip side, a loathing of yourself, or you don't have a high opinion, are you just as attached to the me but in a different way? Because I would assume that would cause considerable suffering.
Right. Yeah, in a worse way.
Yeah. I'm thinking, well, you would think more people would wake up, because it seems to me there's more people like that than the opposite.
Yes. The first state, if we have a very low self-concept about ourselves, is known as the victim state in metaphysics, and it requires some, apparently, in order to wake up, first we need to abandon to some degree that victim state, and metaphysics helps at moving us more towards the Donald Trump state, the victor state, right? So it takes time to move from the victim to the victor. But throughout this whole self-development phase, what we are is always present. What we are really is always present. And the metaphysical manipulations that we do to create a more positive self-concept are only to help us at the level of the ego or the illusion of this little me. So at any point in time in this process, any any moment is a good moment to begin to look into the reality or non-reality of this me. In the beginning, the seeker, for the most part, is focused into improving the me. But at some point, the looking into the reality or unreality of the me begins. I would say that anytime is a good time to look into this, whether the me is a reality or is not. What will likely happen is that if the awakening happens and the individual realizes that the me was a story, then in the embodiment process there will be possibly the first things that will be worked out are those areas where there are victim issues. The negative concepts about oneself will be worked out first, because they need to go. Because after the awakening, the process continues, but it just is different in the sense that the realization that the me was a story immediately brings the understanding that there is no one here to continue doing the job, the self-development work. There's no one here to do that self-development work. Self-development is a story that also is an illusion. So as this realization, with this realization, there is also the understanding that despite this, the process continues, but it's automatic now. It's like more like a surrendering to the process, and the universe takes care from now on, and will continue the evolution of the organism, the psychophysical organism will continue evolving. Of course, awareness or consciousness, what you are really, doesn't evolve, but the psychophysical organism, including the subtle bodies, continue to evolve. But it's automatic now. It's not something that you do. It's something that keeps happening only. And then there is usually the loss of interest, not always, but quite often. After awakening, the individual loses the interest, to meditate or to do sadhana, to do things that will, because life itself is, and what life presents you is enough to trigger advancement and evolution. The idea that I need to do a sadhana, I need to have a meditation practice and in order to evolve is not true. And nothing against meditation, of course, for some people works very well, but for others will not. Is this clear, Leslie, for you?
Yes. Sorry, I'm thinking.
You're thinking, right?
You hit on 2 points that have been in my development, I guess you could say. I follow a couple of different teachers aside from you, and interestingly enough, both of them are women. One of them is fully awake. I don't know if you've heard of her or not, but her name is Gina Lake, and she expounds about, meditation is the best way to come to essence, as she calls it, which I ascribe to a lot of what she writes and so forth. It resonates very deeply with me. And then I follow another woman on Blog Talk Radio who, like Gina, but is different. She channels, but something she's always talking about is you have to get to your core beliefs, and that way you can shift them and you can move forward and your life will be more positive. And although I'm not trying to resist what she's saying, there's resistance because at some point it's like, can't we just stop trying to fix ourselves and just be? And I think that's been a lot of my quest, is you and I have worked privately, is I've been trying to fix myself for such a long time. I'm, as I said, it's rather challenging where I'm living right now, and I'm, as a being, I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to fix what's wrong. I'm trying to find out why I'm creating the life I'm creating and not creating what I'd like to create. And listening to you, there was almost a sense of relief, if that makes sense, because it's just like, maybe I just need to stop. Because I know I shared with you that I had a very powerful awakening moment when my dog passed away in 2007. And it was very strong for almost 2 days, and then it left, and I became very depressed after that. And it took me a long time to come out of that depression. And you know, and you said it very succinctly to me one time that, you know, awakening moments, you know, you can never recapture that one moment again, because there's only the now. So that's something I've tried to stop expecting, that it's going to be similar to that once I become more fully awake.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ramble.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I would look carefully into this assumption that you need to change something in your life, because that in itself is creating a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And instead of that, is like looking at your life with a fresh perspective, and seeing, well, there's nothing wrong in my life. You know, it's wrong if you qualify it as such. But I don't know the particulars of what's going on in your life at this moment. We haven't talked in a long time, but I'm sure that, you know, all these years you have survived. Money has come in. You're in good health somehow, and life continues. And there is and this assumption that there is something wrong with your life may be completely false. So I would look into that thought, as Julie was saying a moment ago. Is this really true?
Yeah. I lost some of what she was speaking of. My computer, which I have not had for over a month, a working computer,
yes.
And I just got it today actually, and it froze on me. I had to shut it down because it froze, and I didn't hear her whole story, and that's why I had to call back in. So, but it was what she said. I got to that point where she said, you know, is it really true? That's something that Byron Katie talks about.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, we make a lot of assumptions, and even the assumption that what you're looking for is somewhere else other than where you are. And so then there's this whole search and things to do and steps to take and meditations and sadhanas, but I think it was I was looking for the quote. I think it was Rumi that said that what you are looking for is, or who you're looking for is, where you're looking from.
That sounds like Rumi. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I think that is Rumi, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it slightly differently, and it's what you are looking for is that which is looking.
Yes. Yeah, I think St. Francis had said something to that
Like that,
effect
right.
also, yeah. And it's put also another way. I found this one. I'm not sure who said it, but you are looking for God. That is the problem. The God in you is the one who is looking.
Right.
But even saying it that way, there's a separation. There's me and then there's God in me.
Right.
So that's still dualistic. But the most recent one I saw actually on Facebook yesterday was a quote by Eckhart Tolle. And I don't know if I put in an email to you, John, but it was this one. You get there by realizing you are already there.
Yeah, that's a very nice one. Yes, exactly. In a way, that's what we have been talking about. Is that nothing needs to be changed, even in the looking, in the searching, in the seeking. The seeking is seeking to change something, not happy with what is.
Mm-hmm.
See, the only thing that doesn't change in your life is the awareness. The awareness that is seeing life is what never changes. So if we're looking for permanent happiness, that permanent happiness cannot be any other thing than that which doesn't change. It's the only thing that is permanent. So awareness is present all day long, even at night. Is that perceiving at night, the perceiving of the dreams, and it's the only permanent. It's the only thing that is permanent in our lives. Thoughts come and go, feelings come and go, sensations come and go, possessions come and go. Money comes and goes. Oh, that comes and goes for sure. Health comes and goes.
Yeah.
But the awareness that is seeing all this, all the dance of that comes and goes, that is the only thing that is permanent. And we are looking for permanent happiness. So what other permanent could be in life? Is this seeing, the perceiving. So Leslie, you may be trying to change your circumstances, and I encourage you to look into the possibility that the happiness that you're looking for doesn't require you to change anything. Nothing, really. I hope your life is not a mess, but if it is a mess, the mess is okay.
Not necessarily a mess, just not where I'd like it to be. That's all.
Right. So it's probably okay.
Yeah.
Right? Even at the level of duality. But the movement towards changing it and improving it and keep improving it and keep improving it is so strong in the ego, in the me thought. So what we have been talking about today, which is there is nothing that needs to be changed, applies also to this. The happiness you are looking for doesn't require you to change anything. It's attaining a complete okayness with what is. Which in a way comes by trusting, meaning trusting that the universe is taking care of everything. Is unfolding with great intelligence. One way to look at the process of liberation is one acceptance after another. When what comes to us seems unacceptable and we accept it, then a chunk of ego goes. Then another thing comes that feels unacceptable and we accept it. Another chunk of ego goes. Okay guys, let's call it a day, unless you have something else that you would like to mention.
Yeah, I guess if I mentioned Gurdjieff brought his name, he was the one who advised that when you work in the group with the right partners, so you can have a so-called timekeeper whose job will be reminding the others to stay awake. And each time you switch the method, because when you get familiar with the method, you stop reacting then awaking.
Sorry, I will lift a little bit the volume because I had difficulties to hear you. You mind to repeat it, please, Shalva?
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Let me lift the volume a little bit more. Okay, go ahead, please.
Testing, testing.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Gurdjieff also advised that if you are practicing with a group of people, so you can have at that group somebody so-called timekeeper, whose job is actually to remind the others remain here and now and remain awakened.
Oh, I see. Right, right. That sounds like satsang. Yes.
Yes.
So he understood awakening as to be in the here and now. I don't know much about his teachings, but that's what you're implying, right?
Yes, yes, definitely yes.
Yes.
The point is that we do need those reminders. In my case, I probably need them pretty often.
Yes, yes. To do not get lost in thought.
Yes, to stay awake.
Right.
Do not fall in sleep, because we all sleep, right?
Yeah, to go back to the me thought and the I story and so on. Yeah. Yes. Yes. But even if you go back to that, to the I, me, and my story, when you realize that, don't give it too much importance. Don't make it into a problem. You say, well, this is also part of it. Yeah, the habit, because you may have seen clearly that the I doesn't exist, that is a story, that it was like Papa Noel, but then you keep thinking in Papa Noel because of the habit, right? So once you get it, then you remind yourself, no, this is I'm not going to think about Papa Noel because it's just, I know that it doesn't exist. So you come back to the moment, to the present moment, but don't turn it into a big deal. It's just the habit, of going back into those patterns of thinking. So it's nothing to worry about, because otherwise you will energize the me story even more by now thinking, oh, me, I'm not able to stay awakened. See the problem there?
Yes, definitely, yes.
The very search for awakening will become now a me problem and re-energize the me. So just don't give it any importance. Is you recognize it for what it is. It's just a habit, a pattern, a thinking pattern that tends to repeat itself. And then once you realize that the mind is there, you come back to the present moment, and that's it. It doesn't mean that you're not awakened. It means simply that the habit still is going on, but the seeing beyond the illusion of the I may have already happened completely.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, it's very important to do not reinforce, re-energize the me with seeking. I want to ask you a question, guys. How do you feel about this? I have a device here in Skype that allows me to record the session. I usually record them and then I discard them. But I have been thinking lately of the possibility of opening a YouTube channel and uploading the satsangs to the net. I have a YouTube channel that where I could do that. But it's a bit complicated because there are quite a few people participating and they are potentially identifiable, which means that there is a confidentiality issue involved. So I want to ask you what is your thinking about it, because I will not do it unless there is full full acceptance from everyone that it would be okay. Or the other possibility is I could just take the first part of the satsang where there is the introduction to the subject until there is a section where the participants can become identified, and then I can remove that. So what is your thinking about this?
I have no issue whatsoever.
Okay.
I don't think there would be a problem unless the full name of a person was identified. I mean, the voice might be identified by somebody, but that would only be if somebody that you knew,
Yeah, we have to be.
Because you're not, I mean, you've said my name, but, and yeah, I live in Maui, but, so. Who's gonna know Leslie who?
Leslie in Maui.
Yeah.
Identifiable. Well,
Or you could do what you just said. I was thinking the same thing. Just do the first half of it.
the first part.
Yeah. If someone really had a problem.
I think that I will do something like that. Yes. It's a little bit more complicated in the sense that I need to start editing, and this organism has become pretty lazy. So it hates to edit, to do video editing. Okay.
Well, one hopes your eyes get better. That would be hard on your eyes.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The light from the screen is the problem. So now it has become even more difficult to edit. But the eyeglasses help. Okay, well, I'm not going to do anything, I tell you, without your written consent. So don't worry about it. I'm going to look into the to see if I can cut a piece, and if I upload it, the first thing I will do is I will send you. I will keep it unlisted, and then nobody can reach it except the people that I send them the link. So I will start by sending you the link, and once you look into the video, if you feel totally comfortable, you send me a written note, and once I have the written note from everyone, then I turn it from unlisted to public. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that. How do you feel, Julie, about this?
I don't have any problem with you using the whole thing,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but anyway, as a policy, for future people that come and so on, I think I need to be more careful with this. So I'm gonna do some editing, and I'm gonna send it to you, and just going through the process will also help.
The other thing is, if you make it clear to people up front that this particular satsang on this and this subject is going to be uploaded, and you can even, I think people do that. They'll ask for a waiver, or if people don't want to be filmed or they don't want to be recorded, they just don't participate.
Right.
So then it's pretty much everybody that shows up is okay with it, and it's not a problem, you know.
Sure.
It's less figuring out or think.
Right. I understand. Yes.
But there are there's also something, that woman Grace Bubeck that had that facing death interview on a couple Sundays ago. Somehow she had it set up where she was actually on YouTube and it was being recorded and people were coming in. You know, she had maybe people in the interview. So it seemed like it was I don't know how she did that. Was that like a Google Hangout or something?
Yeah.
But it seemed like they had pretty clear reception and she could, but it wasn't a group talk. It was like she would talk to one person at a time.
I see.
But I think there were like maybe 8 people or more online.
And so they were coming in, and at the same time, they were. It was immediately recorded and uploaded to YouTube instantaneously, right?
I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I also feel reluctant to look into new systems, new computer systems. Something's wrong with this organism. Anyway, it's getting more and more lazy.
Don't take it personal.
Well, it's okay, right? Because there's nothing to do.
Right. But it's taking it literally.
And there's nothing to change.
And nothing to
It's
change.
not like you have to go on YouTube and put something up there. We're all fine with it.
Yeah. I'm doing more and more the bare minimum.
Okay, just so you know, I'm actually on YouTube. What was it, Julie? Was it Facing Death panel discussion and live exploration?
Right, yeah.
Okay, it was a Google Hangout.
Okay. Yeah.
I have something up on YouTube, so I can see Gian, so I went over and was listening to you. But I totally get you, Gian. I'm at the point where it's like, can I be retired now? I don't want to do anything. I just want to be. I want to go play with my cat, play with my plants.
Right.
So I don't think it's laziness.
That's the way it's moving. Okay, well, thank you guys for participating and for sharing and having a good time here together. And see you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Thanks for having it, John.
Thank you for having it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Okay, see you. Bye.
Bye.